In the vast, arid expanse of the American Southwest, where the Sonoran Desert's searing heat creates a landscape of endurance and adaptation, the Maricopa people, known in their own tongue as the Piipaash, stand as a testament to the resilience of indigenous identity. Their history is not merely one of static existence upon a single plot of land, but a dynamic saga of migration, alliance, and cultural metamorphosis. Unlike many of their neighbors who have inhabited the same valleys for millennia, the Piipaash are a people defined by movement. They are the River Yumans who traveled east, leaving the banks of the Colorado River to forge a new destiny along the Gila and Salt Rivers. This report serves as a comprehensive show Bible or research dossier designed to provide the foundational narrative for a documentary exploration of the Piipaash. It delves deep into their origins, their strategic confederation with the Akimel O'odham, Pima, their legendary martial history, and the profound spiritual and artistic traditions that continue to define them today. The Piipaash are unique in the ethnography of the Southwest. Linguistically, they belong to the Yuman family, making them relatives of the Mojave, Quechan, and Cocopa peoples of the Colorado River Delta. Yet, politically and geographically, they have been linked for nearly 2 centuries with the Uto-Aztecan-speaking Akimel O'odham. This alliance, born of necessity and forged in the fires of intertribal warfare, created a formidable confederation that dominated the Middle Gila River Valley and played a pivotal role in the history of the American frontier. Today, the Piipaash reside primarily within 2 federally recognized communities in the metropolitan Phoenix area: the Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, SRPMIC, and the Gila River Indian Community, GRIC. While often subsumed under the hyphenated identity of Pima Maricopa, the Piipaash maintain a distinct cultural core, manifested in their dying but revitalizing language, their vibrant bird-singing traditions, their specific cremation funeral rites, and their world-renowned redware pottery. To understand the Piipaash is to understand a complex amalgamation of what were once 5 distinct bands: the Piipanya, Kaveli Chidom, Zeli Chidom, Zelich Kawam, and Kakswan, who coalesced into a single political entity to survive the existential threats of the 19th century. This report will trace that journey, from the mythological origins at the base of the sacred mountains to the modern boardrooms where they fight for water rights and sovereignty. The deep history of the Piipaash is rooted in the archaeological tradition known as Patayan, a human term meaning ancient people, which flourished between AD 500 and 1550 in the robust environments of western Arizona, southeastern California, and northern Baja California. Unlike the Hohokam culture of the Gila Salt Basin, known for their monumental canal systems and sedentary platform mound villages, the Patayan people practiced a more mobile, flexible lifestyle adapted to the volatile floodplains of the lower Colorado River. The Patayan ancestors utilized the rich, silt-laden soils of the river for floodwater farming, planting corn, beans, and squash in the mud left behind by receding waters, while supplementing their diet with extensive hunting and gathering of mesquite beans, screw beans, and cactus fruit. Their material culture was characterized by paddle and anvil pottery, the direct precursor to modern Maricopa wares, and a settlement pattern of dispersed rancherias that could be easily moved or rebuilt, a necessity in a landscape prone to catastrophic flooding and shifting river channels. The Piipaash language, or Piipaash Chukwer, is a member of the river branch of the human language family. This linguistic classification is crucial for understanding their cultural worldview. It connects them directly to the Mojave, Vav, and Quechan, Yuman, who would ironically become their fiercest enemies in the historic period. The human languages are distinct from the Uto-Aztecan languages spoken by the Pima and Tohono O'odham. While the Pima language is known for its measured rhythmic flow, human languages are often described as more rapid and structurally distinct, employing different phonologies and syntactic structures such as subject, object, verb, word order, and complex switch reference systems. This linguistic divide meant that when the Maricopa eventually joined the Pima, they remained distinct peoples who largely could not understand each other's native tongues, relying instead on bilingualism or sign language to communicate within their confederation. The contemporary term Maricopa is an exonym, a label applied by outsiders. It derives from the Pima term Coco Maricopa, meaning enemies in the big mountains, which Spanish explorers transliterated as Coco Maricopa and eventually shortened to Maricopa. However, the people refer to themselves as Piipaash, the people. The Zalichidom Piipaash, Halchidoma, are significant for they maintained a strong independent identity long after the other groups had begun to merge. Their migration route was circuitous. Rather than moving directly east, they fled south into Mexico, Sonora, around 1825 to 1830 to escape Mojave persecution, residing there for several years before eventually turning north to join their linguistic kin on the Gila River. This distinct history is why the Zalichidom eventually settled in the Lihi district of the Salt River community, separate from the other Piipaash families who congregated at Maricopa Colony on the Gila River. To understand the Maricopa migration, one must understand the war complex of the lower Colorado River. For centuries, the River Yuman tribes engaged in a ritualized but deadly system of warfare. This was not merely raiding for resources, it was a cultural imperative, deeply embedded in their spirituality and social structure. Alliances were rigid. The Mojave and Quechan were allies, forming a powerful northern and southern bloc. Opposing them were the Cocopa, ex-Chiledom, and the Maricopa, Opa or Coco Maricopa. By the late 18th and early 19th centuries, the pressure on the ex-Chiledom became untenable. Sandwiched between the Mojave to the north and the Quechan to the south, they were subjected to constant pincer attacks. The introduction of European diseases and the disruption of trade routes likely exacerbated these tensions, creating a shatter zone along the river. As the Piipaash bands moved eastward, they entered the territory of the Akimel O'odham, Pima. The Pima were successful agriculturalists living in sedentary villages along the Gila River. They too were under threat, primarily from the nomadic Apache and Yavapai raiders descending from the mountains to steal crops and captives. The meeting of these two peoples resulted in one of the most successful alliances in indigenous North American history. The Pima granted the Maricopa land to live on, initially on the western edge of their territory, in exchange for mutual defense. The Maricopa, renowned for fierce warriors with a deep cultural tradition of standing infantry combat, provided a hardened buffer against the human tribes to the west. The Pima provided agricultural stability and numbers against the Apache to the east. This confederation was not a merger of cultures. The two groups lived in separate villages or separate districts within villages, spoke different languages, and maintained different religious practices. Yet they fought together, traded extensively, and presented a united political front to the Spanish, Mexicans, and Americans. By the mid-19th century, the Pima and Maricopa were viewed by outsiders as a single geopolitical unit. The hostility between the Maricopa and their Colorado River enemies, the Quechan and Mojave, did not end with the migration. The human tribes practiced long-distance warfare, often traveling hundreds of miles to launch attacks. By 1857, the Maricopa had established a strong presence near Maricopa Wells in the Sierra Estrella Mountains. In the summer of 1857, the Quechan leader, Francisco, organized a massive coalition to wipe out the Maricopa for once and for all. He rallied his own warriors, along with a large contingent of Mojaves and allies from the Apache and Yavapai tribes. The force, numbering at least 300, some estimates go higher, marched across the searing desert for 8 days to reach the Maricopa heartland. At dawn on September 1, 1857, the coalition force struck the Maricopa village of Secate. The attack began with brutality. The invaders killed women who were out gathering mesquite beans and set fire to the brush houses of the village. The surviving villagers, largely women, children, and the elderly, fled to Pima Butte, known as Viva Vis, a steep, solitary hill that offered a defensive vantage point. However, the attackers made a fatal error. Exhausted from their 160-mile march, and perhaps overconfident after the initial rout, the Quechan and Mojave warriors stopped to loot the burning village and consume the food stores they found there. The Apache and Yavapai contingents, seeing the lack of immediate victory, or perhaps sensing the danger of a counterattack, largely abandoned the field and retreated into the desert. While the Quechan and Mojave feasted in the burning ruins, Maricopa runners had already reached the nearby Pima villages. The response was immediate. The Pima and Maricopa warriors mobilized, including a significant force of Pima cavalry, a technological advantage the river-based Quechan and Mojave lacked. The Pima-Maricopa force swept in, forming a crescent formation that pinned the invaders against the Gila River. What followed was a massacre. The battle was fought primarily with traditional weapons, clubs made of dense mesquite wood, often shaped like potato mashers, lances, and bows, though the Pima utilized some firearms and their horses to devastating effect. Eyewitness accounts and oral histories describe the scene as a slaughter. The mounted Pima-Maricopa warriors rode down the fleeing foot soldiers, while clubmen finished them off with crushing blows to the head. The Quechan and Mojave, trapped and outnumbered, stood their ground and fought to the death. Historical estimates suggest that out of the Yuman and Mojave force, nearly all were killed. One account states that 150 to 160 bodies were left on the field. Chief Francisco was among the dead. A surviving Pima historian, Owl Ear, later recounted, "This was the bloodiest fight known, and the Yumas came here to fight no more." The Battle of Pima Butte effectively ended the centuries-old wars between the River Yumans. It was the last major battle fought solely between indigenous armies in North America. The victory secured the Maricopa's place in the Gila Valley and demonstrated the devastating power of the Pima-Maricopa Confederation. The Piipaash social structure is built upon a system of patrilineal clans. A child belongs to the clan of their father. These clans are exogamous, meaning it is traditionally forbidden to marry someone from the same clan. This system ensured that social ties were knitted across the entire tribe, preventing insularity within single families. Unlike the Pima, who have a moiety system dividing the tribe into buzzard and coyote halves, the Maricopa clan system is more akin to the human models of the Colorado River. Clan names are often associated with plants, animals, or natural phenomena, e.g. corn, cactus, sun, though the specific totemic associations have become less rigid over time due to cultural assimilation and loss. Traditional leadership was centered on the Piipaash, literally big man or head man. This was not a hereditary monarchy, but a meritocracy based on personal charisma, oratorical skill, and crucially, spiritual power. A leader was expected to be a good speaker who could exhort the people to righteous living, mediate disputes, and organize community labor, such as canal maintenance or defense. The headman's authority was advisory rather than coercive. He governed by consensus. If a headman lost his respect of the community, or if his dream power seemed to fail, his influence would wane and another might rise to take his place. Maricopa spirituality is not learned from a book or a priest. It is acquired through dreaming, sumach. All talent, power, and success are attributed to dreams. A great warrior is not just strong, he has dreamed of the hawk or the mountain lion. A great potter has dreamed of the clay spirits. A shaman, Kwanami, has dreamed of the specific songs and rituals needed to cure illness. The Maricopa say, everyone who is prosperous or successful must have dreamed of something. This belief system places a high value on individual spiritual experience and the subconscious connection to the ancestors and the natural world. One of the most vibrant surviving elements of Piipaash culture is the bird-singing tradition, Wikmatalium Tamwafe. This is a shared tradition among the Yuman tribes and the Cahuilla of California, serving as an oral encyclopedia of the people's history. Bird songs are performed by a lead singer and a chorus of men standing in a line or semicircle. They provide their own rhythm using gourd rattles, hulya, filled with palm seeds or small stones. The rhythm is driving and complex, often shifting tempo abruptly. Women participate by dancing in a specific style, moving forward and back with rhythmic swaying, their movements accentuating the beat. The songs are not random, they form a cycle consisting of hundreds of individual verses. When sung in their entirety, which can take all night, they recount the migration of the people. They describe the geography of the Colorado River, the specific mountains and landmarks passed during the Great Exodus, the animals encountered, and the lessons learned from the Creator. In the absence of a written language, the bird songs preserved the mental map of the Maricopa world. Today, bird singing is the centerpiece of social gatherings, socials, and the Piipaash Matashavim celebration. It is a powerful assertion of human identity in a modern context, linking the singers directly to their ancestors through the vibration of the gourd and the ancient lyrics. The Maricopa are world-renowned for their pottery, a tradition that distinguishes them from the Pima, who were famous for basketry. Maricopa pottery is defined by its elegant forms, high-gloss finish, and the distinctive use of red clay. In the mid-19th century, the Pima and Maricopa were the agricultural powerhouse of the Arizona Territory. They grew millions of pounds of wheat, corn, and beans, supplying the U.S. Army during the Apache Wars and feeding the thousands of migrants passing through on the Butterfield stage route. They were wealthy, self-sufficient, and militarily powerful. This prosperity was destroyed by American settlement. Immigrants settling upstream on the Gila River near Safford and Florence diverted the river's flow for their own farms. By the 1870s, the Gila River, once a perennial waterway, began to run dry before it reached the reservation.
The tribes fought back in the courts. The Gila Decree of 1935 theoretically recognized their water rights, but it was largely ignored in practice. It wasn't until the Arizona Water Settlements Act of 2004, after decades of litigation, that the community achieved a definitive victory. Despite the pressures of the modern world, the Piipaash identity remains distinct. Events like the Mustering-In Day Parade commemorate their military service. The Piipaash Matashiem gathering brings together bird singers and potters. Through their pottery, their songs, and their stubborn defense of their water and land, the Maricopa people continue to honor the legacy of their ancestors who walked out of the Colorado River Valley to find a new home in the rising sun. The Piipaash Maricopa story is a dramatic narrative of survival through transformation. They are a people who migrated into a war zone, forged an alliance that altered the balance of power in the Southwest, and survived the ecological destruction of their river. From the smoky pyres of their cremation rituals to the polished gleam of their redware pots, their culture reflects a profound connection to the earth and the dream world. They are the people who live toward the water, Halachidam, even when the water stopped flowing. Now, with their water rights restored and their culture experiencing a revitalization, the Piipaash stand poised to carry their unique human heritage into the future, distinct from, yet forever linked with, their Oadam brothers.